I ultimately put my own mother in jail, where she's now facing a minimum of 10 years. It all started when she laughed at me for being homeless. This isn't a story about feeling good. It's about what came after. After nearly 25 years of violent abuse, I got the kind of revenge I used to dream about as a kid. But it didn't make me feel the way I expected. For all the people who suggested I take the high road, I'm sorry, but I didn't. You were right. It didn't make me feel better. But I'm not sorry. My life with my mother, Isabel, was worse than hell. Imagine your worst enemy raising you, and you'll get a glimpse into my childhood. By the time I was 9 or 10, I knew I was completely alone. I started hoping that this time she would just keep wailing on me, that she wouldn't stop until the job was done. I fantasized that she'd beat me so close to death she'd have to take me to a hospital, where someone would finally see and save me. But nobody ever seemed to care enough to look deeper. I could fill pages with the things she did. She dislocated my shoulder with a cast iron pipe. She'd beat me nightly until I ate foods I was allergic to, then beat me again for throwing them up. I remember her lighting my Christmas presents on fire, and her boyfriend having to hold her back as she held a knife to my neck, screaming that I was worth less than my father and no one would care if she did it. She tried to kill me 3 or 4 times, if you count the half-assed poisoning where she forced me to drink something with bleach in it. It's sick. But I'd forgotten about that one until now. That's how many memories I've had to suppress. I don't think a few weeks ever went by without me getting beaten bloody over something trivial. The police were called, of course. But can you imagine watching your own mother smile and lie to the officers? Telling them you're just exaggerating? And then watching them drive away, knowing you have to go back inside with her. Years later, my stepdad told me he only stayed with her for so long because he was afraid she'd kill me one day. He doesn't know how much worse it got after he left. He also told me Isabel had been abused growing up in another country, which gave me some perspective. But it didn't change anything. Every day, she had a choice. And every day, she chose to hurt me. When I was 17, she kicked me out. And I went to live with my aunt, Maria, for a few months. During that time, Isabel was unnaturally kind, stopping by with groceries and cash. She promised that if I went to college, I'd always have a place to live. I don't know why I believed her. My Aunt Maria couldn't keep me permanently, so I returned to Isabel's house and enrolled in community college. Despite being just an empty husk, I did well, holding a 3.6 GPA. But Isabel returned to her old ways. She'd dump trash cans full of dirty diapers and old food on my bed. She'd lock me out in the snow for hours because I didn't respond to a text, even if I had class. I wasn't allowed to have keys. It was constant. The end came a few days before finals week. I came home around 9 p.m. and she was waiting, screaming about when I'd move out. She followed me to my room and half ripped the door off its hinges. As I sat there staring silently, she went to the other room and I heard her on the phone with the police, claiming she was afraid I would murder her and my younger siblings. I didn't have the energy to deal with it. I grabbed what I could and left for good. I failed all my finals. After that, I was at rock bottom. I bounced between couches and cheap rooms, drinking every day. Then, in early 2016, I discovered photography. And it changed everything. For the first time in my life, I felt a sense of possibility. I isolated myself and poured every waking moment into it, convinced that if I pushed myself hard enough, I could finally be good at something. I even managed to get my own apartment for a year. But my life is a shit symphony. A friend robbed me of 2 months' rent and my camera gear while I was blacked out drunk. And I lost my apartment and job. Right then, I got an email from Isabel. We ended up on the phone. And like an idiot, I told her how hard things were. She was bragging about a new expensive speaker system she'd bought. And I asked for just $100 to give my landlord something. Anything. To buy me some time. Isabel made a fatal error in that moment. She believed she was delivering a final, crushing blow. Completely unaware that this single act would ignite a fuse that would incinerate her entire life. It all escalated. And then she laughed. She literally laughed at me for being homeless. She denied ever abusing me. I hung up, my head swimming with frustration. A few moments later, my mind cleared. I decided I was going to completely and utterly ruin her fucking life. And I did. I called CPS and told them about my history of abuse, providing them with the dozens of photos of my bruised and bloodied self that I had compiled as a teenager. Their visit coincided with Isabel punishing my little sister, which led to the emergency removal of my 3 younger siblings. Isabel was arrested but released a few hours later. Next, I contacted the job she had gotten with the fake resume I wrote for her years ago. I informed them of her lies. Given her field, she was promptly investigated, fired, and blacklisted from an $80,000 plus salary. Then, I accessed all the email accounts I had made for her. She never changed the passwords, and deleted every single email before deleting the accounts themselves. Her fiancé, the father of my youngest sister, found out what was happening and filed for sole custody. She missed court dates, couldn't pay her mortgage, and eventually, a warrant was issued for her arrest. Then, she went completely off the grid. Months later, in early 2019, she called me from her home country. How she got on a plane with a warrant, I have no idea. She demanded that I tell CPS she was a good mom and that she never abused anyone. It was unbelievable. I cut her off. I told her in graphic detail how I used to piss in the Lipton iced tea she forced me to make for her. I told her how I'd rub her forks and spoons between my butt cheeks before serving her food. She started cursing me out. But her words didn't matter anymore. She blamed me for her life turning out so terribly. And before hanging up and blocking her number, I said, "Look, bitch. I want you to know exactly whose fault it is and whose piss you fucking drank when you're sitting in jail wondering why the world did you so wrong." I thought that was the end. But 2 months ago, I reconnected with my aunt, Maria. She admitted she talks to Isabel almost every day. Then she told me Isabel was coming back to America in 1 week and that she, my aunt, had told Isabel I would be at the airport with her so we could all talk. This reveals Maria's greatest flaw, a well-intentioned but dangerous naivete. One that failed to grasp the depth of her sister's depravity and ultimately put her own freedom at risk. She insisted I had to be open-minded and give my murderer a second chance. So I lied. I promised my aunt I would try to have a heart-to-heart. The moment we got off the phone, I called the detectives who had given me their number months before. I made a plan. At the airport, I told Maria I'd wait for them at a Starbucks. When she went to meet Isabel, I called the detective and told him my mother was just a few feet away. They said they would send officers at the airport to apprehend her. Soon. I saw them both at the same time, 3 or 4 officers searching the food court. And my aunt and mother walking right towards me. The weight in my chest was immense. Before they could say a word, I jumped up. I ordered some teas. Let me go see if they're ready. I dashed past the Starbucks counter and out to the officers. Did you get a call about a woman with a warrant? I asked. They confirmed they had. That's my mother, I said, telling them her name. She's sitting right in the Starbucks waiting for jail. One of the cops chuckled, looking a bit surprised that I was pointing them right to my own mom. I said I'd make sure she didn't leave. And they followed about 15 paces behind me. I walked back to the table. Isabel looked up at me with her usual scowl, which turned to confusion as I spoke. Mom, I know we don't get along, but I wanted to let you know it's all my fault. She started to reply in a soft, motherly voice. What do you mean it's your fault? But I cut her off. Look, bitch. I want you to know exactly whose fault it is. She sputtered and then slapped me hard across the face. My aunt's jaw dropped. The watching crowd went silent. The cop saw everything. And in an instant, she was in handcuffs. And there it was. For the first time, Isabel's carefully constructed mask of a respectable mother shattered in public, revealing the monster that I had known my entire life. Her true colors erupted. She was screaming, cursing, threatening to kill me. I watched them lead her away. One commenter later said something that stuck with me: "Your mom is gone now. And she can't hurt anyone physically anymore. You did a good thing." My aunt told me she was disappointed in me. That what I did was spiteful and disgusting. She's not wrong. It was entirely out of spite. The final irony? It turns out Isabel had been using my Aunt Maria's passport to leave and re-enter the country multiple times. That's how she was never caught. Now my kind, naive aunt has to answer for it. Isabel is facing up to 10 years for the passport fraud alone, plus a slew of other charges. Her husband left her. Her kids were taken. Her friends are gone. I got my revenge. Did it feel good? No. I felt nothing. Just empty. A person online put it perfectly: you're feeling nothing because you're not a monster. That's good. Right now, I live in a homeless shelter. I checked myself in 6 months ago to escape the drinking and instability. I have a government housing voucher and should have my own place in the next 2 months. I'm saving money, building better habits, and will be going back to school for photography in the fall. My life is embarrassing and hard right now, but I have a plan. Another commenter pointed out something I hold on to: one thing I have noticed consistently is that you fall down but you pick yourself up again. That's all I can do. I've decided I'm going to become one of the greatest photographers of my time. I have to succeed, so that anyone else who has suffered like I have knows they have no reason to doubt their own ability to be great one day. The only thing left is to keep working to become the person I want to be. Getting revenge on my abuser didn't bring the satisfaction I expected, but it did clear the path for me to finally start building the life I deserve. It was a necessary, ugly step towards my own future. So I have to ask, when dealing with someone who has wronged you so deeply, Is taking the high road always the right answer? Or is there a time when seeking justice, even through revenge, is necessary for your own survival? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.